A man once told Rowan Atkinson that he looked exactly like Rowan Atkinson, without realizing he was talking to Rowan Atkinson himself. For someone known for making millions laugh, Rowan's funniest moments often happen when he's simply being himself. Before we get to that story, here's the moment where he somehow turned a single word into comedy gold.
Somebody there called Bob. Anybody else would read it and go, right, they're called Bob. You decided that Bob could be a funny word.
Right.
Now, how do you do that?
Well, it just seemed, yeah, it was always at the end of the sentence. It was, you know, so how can I help you, Bob? it just seemed like a funny way of saying it, Bob.
Because I was looking at lists of motoring words the other day and wondering if you could just by saying them, make them funny. Just say the word.
Airbag. De Dion Bouton. That's a French word, isn't it? Petrol pump.
Also the faces.
Yeah, exactly, that helps.
Reviewing a car, because I have to think of all sorts of things to say about a car. Now I know that if you were a presenter on this show, you could just do it with an expression.
Right.
So for example, if you were presented with McLaren F1, think of another one. The imperiousness one gets from a Range Rover.
Ah, right, okay.
Rowan has shared the stage with some of the biggest names in entertainment, and when Elton John joined him, the conversation quickly became memorable.
Elton, do you mind if I call you Elton?
No, it's fine.
Good. Well, Elton. I'm sure the first question that everybody would like to ask you is this. Funny name, Elton. How did you come by it?
Well, I used to be in a band, and I wanted to become a singer in my own right, and I wanted to choose a name, and the saxophone player in the band was called Elton, so I chose that name.
Did you ever consider John Elton?
No.
You didn't? Okay. Right, well, let's start with those early albums, then. One of which I believe was called simply Elton John.
Yes, that's correct.
And you didn't feel awkward with the name at all?
No.
You didn't feel that people might say, wait a minute, they mean John Elton. They've cocked up the record sleeve and printed the bloody name the wrong way around.
No, I thought it sounded great, and, you know, I thought people would be more interested in the music rather than the name.
Now, to the songs themselves, many of the lyrics were, of course, written by Bernie Taupin.
Yes, that's right.
But I'd like to talk about Bernie for a while, since obviously he's been an enormous influence on your career.
Yes, he has, yes.
Tell me, did you ever discuss changing his name?
As it turns out, being one of the most recognizable faces in the world doesn't stop people from failing to recognize you.
A few years ago, there was I was in a Land Rover parts department near Peterborough, the kind of place you find me on most Saturdays. And we're waiting for car parts. And car parts, guys hang around a lot because, you know, to get a part, the guy has to go half a mile to the back of the warehouse and then come back again, and he brings it back. And he says, this is a left-hand one. Oh, you wanted a right-hand one? Sorry, I'll go. He goes, and it takes forever. Anyway, I was standing around with a group of guys, and I could see this guy doing that. And he came up to me after a while, and he said, "Excuse me, has anyone ever told you that you're the absolute spitting image of that Mr. Bean?" I said, "Well, actually, I am the actor who plays Mr. Bean." And he said, "I bet you wish you were." And there followed this bizarre conversation in which the more I tried to claim that I was the person whom he thought I merely resembled, the less he believed me. So but what was funny was how close he thought I was to you know, he said the resemblance is uncanny. Have you ever thought of doing any, look-alike work, like, stag nights and hen nights? You could go along as Mr. Bean. And I said, no, I haven't. He said, because you can make an absolute fortune. And I could tell after a while I had to bring the conversation to a close because clearly not only was he not believing me, but he was getting quite annoyed that I was pursuing this line of I am Rowan Atkinson and clearly he thought I was this total arse. Just because I happened to look a bit like Mr. Bean, goes around the country actually claiming to be Mr. Bean. Oh, what a twat.
And finally, decades after first appearing on television, Rowan proves that he hasn't lost his touch when it comes to Mr. Bean. Whether he's telling stories, chatting with fellow celebrities, or stepping back into character, Rowan Atkinson has a way of making people laugh that few comedians can match.
I actually had a chance to talk to Richard Curtis once, and I was asking him about his beginnings in comedy, and he said that when he was at Oxford, he thought he was pretty darn funny.
Right.
And he was going to go up and do something in a review.
Right, yes.
And he said, but before he went on, he goes, this guy goes up there, who he had never met before,
right.
And holding just a piece of paper, he made everyone laugh for 7 minutes without saying a word.
Right.
And he said, that was you.
That was me.
Yeah, and he goes, it was so, he found it so demoralizing that he had his little clever ideas and his little wordplay, but you went up there and said nothing and absolutely killed the room. Do you remember what you did? Do you remember that night?
Yes, I certainly remember the night. It was a one-off. It was a one-night review, and I was asked if I wanted to do something, and I couldn't think of anything. And I'm not really a very diligent writer, so I thought I just stood in front of a mirror, to be honest, and I just started pulling faces. I mean, for want of a better term, and I just sort of, was doing this. And then there was this idea of having a card. Have you got anything that I could... Well, it was a piece of paper of where I would just... Can I stand up? Is that okay? Look, well, I can stand up. I'm standing up. Am I allowed to stand up? And where I can't remember very well now, so this won't be at all funny, but I'll do it anyway.
Great.
I'll do it anyway. Where he came out and the audience were there, as indeed they are here tonight. And I came out just going... Anyway, it was something like that. It was something like that.